take it off
Thank you.
when you're singing. I'll keep it on when you're singing. And I'll try to remember to go on and off for when I'm talking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't know, because I saw Jay's thing about how everybody's going to have to be masked when singing, which, but, okay.
That's for poor rehearsal when everyone's singing together and sitting in chairs close to each other and all that stuff.
Right, but every single song is a group song in this spiel. It's a very large.
It is large. It was the choice of. I had one that needed songs, and then I had one that he didn't seem to like, and then he had this one. I was like, okay. Do we have that one?
Yeah, it's a different one. Well, they have it here. They did it in the middle. You there? No, exactly, but I should pull it out now. Do we have time? No, we don't. We do not. Because yeah, all the numbers are group numbers, and that's my fear. Choice of
Although
year.
when they are group numbers, if we end up being live, when they're group numbers, we drown out the bad singers.
It's like every 2 lines. Almost all the songs.
All right, we'll talk later. Because we're probably hot.
Hello.
Hello.
Yay.
Oh.
Hello, Fountain Valley. Uh-oh.
Shabbat Shalom!
5, 6, 7, 8. Hey.
Do we have a virtual minion?
Virtual minion, but no Torah. That's too bad, because I'm like...
Well, what do Reform Responsa say?
Reform Responsa doesn't say anything about how many people need to be in the room, but the
No, I meant in terms of virtual.
But the Talmud that I just read this week says 10 people in the room for Torah.
Also for Baruch Hu.
I would say virtual minion for the blessings, but not for the actual physical Torah.
Interesting.
That would be my personal preference, like my ruling as a rabbi.
Your personal rabbinic, what do we call that? Rabbinic responsa?
Yeah.
Rabbi Young's rabbinic responsa?
What did you say? Posek Young. Posek Hatzair. 3, 6, 7, 8. Well, if no,
that's a great Devar
that's
Torah.
ready. If one more person comes in, you can count the Torah as your 10.
Mm. Ah, you should
So
say
if
that in a microphone so
If
people
Mark
hear.
stays, it's a mitzvah. Correct. You can only count one.
You can count one Torah. You can't count each beautiful Torah that's in
This
the
is
ark.
correct. Is Mark still here? Mark, you got to stay. You're our 9th.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. It's
All
7 o'clock.
right.
6 o'clock.
Oh, you said that part. We would never have known.
Maths.
All is well.
So we need one more person to come in to have 9.
Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish?
Well, we know we've got people watching at home. I know that my mother said, "I'll see you tonight, but you won't see me." So
Aww.
I assume.
Hi, Karen. Sing out from your homes. Hinei ma tovu banayim, shavet achim gam yachad. 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 Hinei שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So we wait for hopefully one more person to come to make a minyan for us. 2 more would be a full minyan, but one more and we can count the Torah, so here's hoping. Meanwhile, we can still light the candles. So, Hedda, will you light the candles for us? You can find it on page 2 if you're following along in your Siddur. Please rise.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher kadshanu b'mitzvot tov, v'tzivonu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom. After we light the candles, it is customary that at that point we do the blessing over our children. So if you are watching at home and you have children nearby, place your hands on them gently and bring them near you. And it doesn't matter how old or young your child is your child forever. So yeah, there you go. So if you have your hands on a boy child, either at home or here in the building, please repeat after me. Yisimcha Elohim Ke'Ephraim Umenashe. Which means may God bless you like Ephraim and Menashe, the only 2 siblings in the entire Bible who don't fight with each other. And if you have your hands on a girl child at home, please repeat after me. Yisimech Elohim Kesara Rivka Leah Rachel Bilha Uzilpa, which means may God bless you like Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, Rachel, Bilha, and Zilpah, our great ancestral mothers who taught us so much about being strong, being organized, being the kind of matriarch that we would most want in our lives. And for everyone, you don't have to repeat this. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, may God's radiance shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, may God's face turn towards you, be reflected in yours, and may God give you peace. And it is not finished until you seal it with a kiss. So make sure you give your child a kiss on the forehead if you're at home. Mass kiss is good for in the building. To my children, mwah, clean your rooms. And you may be seated. Now that we have welcomed Shabbat with light and with blessing for our children, our families, we now welcome Shabbat with song, Lecha Dodi. If you have a Siddur, it's on page 20. And we'll be doing, first and last?
Yeah.
We'll be doing verses 1 and 9 tonight in the numbered verses.
Ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 panei Shabbat nekadera, ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 panei Shabbat. וזכור ודיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה יאי לי לי יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה
Please, yes.
בואי ושלום עצרת בנה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עמסתנה בואי כלה בואי כלה יאי לי לי יאללה לה לה לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה
Oh, stay standing.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Le'olam va'ed. Yedidai-dai-dai, 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 Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Vad.
You may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivdecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchetavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liyot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
According to Rabbi Lawrence Kushner in his book Honey from the Rock, the wilderness is not just a desert through which we wandered for 40 years. The wilderness is a way of being, a place that demands being open to the flow of life around you, a place that demands being honest with yourself without regard to the cost in personal anxiety, a place that demands being present with all of yourself. In the wilderness, your possessions cannot surround you. Your preconceptions cannot protect you. Your logic cannot promise you the future. Your guilt can no longer place you safely in the past. You are left alone each day with an immediacy that astonishes, chastens, and exalts. You see the world as if for the first time. As we move into Michamocha, it is that acknowledgement of miracles, acknowledgement of being alone in the desert, even if we're with other people, feeling like we are helpless, and then acknowledging that there are miracles and seeing them for the first time every day. Michamocha, page 40.
I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Oh, 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 I've been waiting in the Michamocha, Vaylim Adonai Michamocha, Nedar B'Kodesh Nora Tehillah. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the sea.
We move from that thankfulness of the miracle to the thankfulness that God protects us at night, bringing us that shelter of peace with Hashkivenu, page 42. Sorry.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
We are going to continue with the Amidah. It begins on page 46. We rise together for Adonai Svatai.
Adonai sefatai titach ufi agid teilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Elohei Bilhah, Elohei Zilpah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanoro, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo V'Ava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'Hayei Hakol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות ומיתו מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמנת לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללו חסנה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We take a moment for our own personal prayers, and when you're finished, you may be seated.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. L'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
So we would normally, on a Friday night at CBT, move into a Torah service, but we had the debate at the beginning. I don't know if the mics were hot yet, but we had the debate at the beginning about how many Jews need to be in the room to do the Torah service, and we said, okay, we can have 9 in the room for us to do the Torah service and count the Torah, but we don't have 9 Jews in the room, so we're going to have to just say Torah tonight was from, we could read from the book Torah,
Yeah.
so that we still get Torah, and so we'll do that. That popped into our heads at the same time,
Indeed.
apparently. So
You must be my clergy partner or
I know,
something. I don't know.
so I will start with a story, though.
Beautiful.
And the story that I was thinking of was not from the Parsha of the week, but acknowledging that this past Sunday night was Rosh Chodesh Shabbat. So that means that, being almost a week of Shabbat gone, in another week and change will be Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of the month of Shvat, which is like, someone said to me jokingly, which one is Tu B'Shvat again, this morning, and I said, it's like Rosh Hashanah plus Arbor Day. So Tu B'Shvat in the Talmud and Rosh Hashanah page 2, if you're counting, it lists 4 New Years for the Jewish calendar, one of which is Tu B'Shvat, the New Year for the trees. So if you have a tree anywhere in your possession, in your yard or in your living room, if you're that kind of person, its birthday is the 15th of Shvat, no matter when it was planted. Ooh, this just popped into my head too. So Natalie and I were in Mexico over New Year's, and we were walking along this wooden pathway trail in the woods. So, kind of hiking along, looking at things and, being on vacation. And there were a couple of spots in the path where trees just grew right up out of the wooden platform. And there was a sign on just about every one of these trees that said, "Don't mind me, I was here first." Which I thought was great, but that's also what Tu B'Shvat is all about. Tu B'Shvat is the birthday of the trees. It's acknowledging trees, but it's also acknowledging the environment in general. So that brings me to the story. The story that I wanted to tell is about Honi, the circle maker. And before I tell you the story about Honi, the circle maker, I want to tell you how he got his name, which is another story. So in Israel, they were experiencing a drought. And Honi was known for being very pious, like whatever he prayed would come true as long as he had the right intent. So they came to him and said, "Honi, we need rain, will you please pray?" And he says, "Well, that's not how it works, but I'll give it a shot." So he prays for rain and nothing happens. They come back to him and they say, "Honi, really, we're in desperate times." So Honi draws a circle on the ground and he stands in it and he says, "Hey God, I'm going to stand in this circle until you make it rain." So there's this, pitter, pitter of rain, like pitiful, like a California rain, as I call it. And Honi says, "Come on, God, you know that's not what I meant. I'm not leaving here until there's sufficient rain." And he says no sooner than he finished his sentence, "sufficient rain," when kaboom, the skies darken and this torrential downpour starts coming down like it rained, like last week in California, and just raining and starting to flood the fields. And Honi says, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. You know that's not what I meant either. I'm still not leaving this circle until we have a nice, normal, crop-feeding rain that's not going to hurt anyone." And so sure enough, the rains lighten up. It becomes a nice, normal rain, and the crops are watered, and the drought is ended, and Honi steps out of the circle. So, Honi's whole nature is nature. He's very aware of the environment and its needs. We don't just need rain. We need the right amount of rain. We don't just need to take care of the plants around us. We need them to be taken care of in such a way that they provide for us. They provide so much. They provide CO2, they provide fruit, they provide shade, they provide wood. So whatever we need from the trees, they need to be respected as well. So one of the things that we do, obviously, with trees is we plant them for food. And carob trees in Israel are a wonderful source of, carobs are nutritious, but they're also really yummy. So, eating carobs in Israel, if you're walking along the streets of Jerusalem, you can see these big, they look from afar, they look like brown bananas, but they're growing on a regular looking tree and not a banana tree. So, but if you pull one off and you chew on the tip, it's really sweet, and you can it almost tastes like chocolate, which is why they use carob to replace chocolate for people who can't eat chocolate. So Honi the circle maker is walking along the road, and he sees an old man planting a carob tree. Now, according to the story, carobs take 70 years to develop fruit. According to botany, not so much. But for the sake of the story, it takes 70 years for a carob tree to produce fruit. So here he is, this old man planting a carob tree. And Honi says, "What are you doing? You're never going to see fruit from this tree. Why would you even bother?" And the old man says, "Well, when I was a boy, I ate carobs all the time because there were carob trees all over the land. So I plant this not for me, but for my children and my grandchildren." And so Honi laughed at him. Honi thought that was hilarious. Oh, what a silly thing to do. And he lay down at another tree, and he fell asleep. And weeds mysteriously grew over him in such a speed that no one noticed him sleeping there for 70 years. So he wakes up. This was, Rip Van Winkle, eat your heart out. So he wakes up and clears the weeds, and he, sees that his beard is now white and really long, and his hair is now white and really long, and his hands are all wrinkled, and he doesn't know what's going on. And so he's kind of wandering around, and look, here's a big carob tree where the old man was planting. He says, "Oh my goodness, it's got fruit on it. I must have been asleep for 70 years. So he goes wandering around, and he says, "I'm looking for Honi." They say, "Yeah, of course, we know Honi. He's over here. He's a circle maker," meaning he makes metal circles for barrels. So yeah, he's a circle maker. And Honi says, "Oh my God, I too was a circle maker, but in a different sense. So where's my namesake, Honi the circle maker?" And it turns out that he's his grandson. And his grandson was overjoyed to be able to enjoy carobs all his life as well. So on Tu B'Shvat, and always when we're thinking about the environment, when we're thinking about celebrating trees, we know that we don't do it for us. We don't do it just for our own enjoyment. We plant things, sure, we plant gardens that we can enjoy within a month or two or whatever it takes, but we really, when we're thinking about the future with our environment, when we take care of our environment in such a way that we are allowing our grandchildren to eat from the trees we plant, whether we mean that in a literal or metaphorical way, that is truly how to give the trees a very, very happy birthday. So Tu B'Shvat, just so you are aware, is officially starts on Sunday evening, January 16th. So if you want to say happy birthday to the trees, it happens to also be Martin Luther King Day. Tu B'Shvat and Martin Luther King Day are the same. So if you're going to do a social action project on Martin Luther King Day, as is often the custom in America, maybe do something for the trees that day. Maybe something that's environmentally focused so that we too can celebrate both the trees and Dr. Martin Luther King at the same time. So we'll read from the Torah book. The section that I had prepared is on page 462 if you want to follow along in the Plout commentary. It's Exodus chapter 12, beginning with verse 37. We'll we'll read to the end of the 2 pages. And it's, if you're following in English, the 37 is the beginning of the second paragraph. And if you're following in Hebrew, it's the very beginning of the left-hand column on page 462. So, and we will read without an aliyah because this is for study. But because it is for study, we will say the blessing for Torah study together if you know it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Vayisu b'nei Yisrael miramses Sukkota. The Israelites journeyed from Ramses Sukkotward. Kishesh meot elef reglei hagvarim levad mitaf. That was 600,000 men on foot, not including children. V'gam erev rav Allah itam, and also a mixed multitude went up with them. V'tzon uvakar mikne kaved meod, and flocks and herds, a very heavy amount of livestock. Vayofu et habatsek asher hotziu mimitzrayim ugot matzot kilo chametz. And they baked dough as they left Egypt. They made cakes of matzah because it was not leavened. Ki goshu mimitzrayim v'lo yachlu lehitmameh ha v'gam tzadeh v'lo asu lahem. This was because they were rushed out of Egypt and they couldn't make it. They couldn't delay, and also they didn't have they didn't have the time to make provisions for themselves. Moshav v'nei Yisrael asher yashvu b'Mitzrayim, and the dwelling that the Israelites did when they dwelled in Mitzrayim, 30 shana v'arba me'ot shana, was 430 years. Vayhi miketz 30 shana v'arba me'ot shana, and at the end of 430 years, Vayhi ba'etzem hayom hazeh yotzu kol hativot Adonai me'eretz Mitzrayim. That was the very day that all of the hosts of Adonai left Egypt. Leil shimurim hu ladonai lehotziam me'eretz Mitzrayim. That was God's night of watching to bring them out of the land of Egypt. Hu halayla hazeh ladonai shimurim lechol bnei Yisrael ledorotam. That night, that same night, is the one where God guarded for all of the Israelites for all the ages. So that was our little bit of Parshat Bo, leaving Egypt. So next week we are very fortunate to be able to read when they, you know what happens when they leave Egypt is they encounter the sea, and they're trapped between the sea and the Egyptians. And what happens next, I'm not going to spoil for you. So no spoilers. But it's amazing. And what's even more amazing is Naomi Kaladny is going to read it for us next week because she's becoming a bat mitzvah. So it's going to be awesome. With our thoughts on Torah, we remember that there are people in our lives who need our prayers of healing. Tonight we are thinking especially of Leo Abrahams, Dylan Artunian, Heather Artunian, Fran Bowie, Myrna Capsuto, Georgina Chapman, Nancy Danger, Larry Dratch, Carol Ensley, Patrick Freeman, Pilar Gill, Andrew Heimoff, Barbara Heimoff, Jennifer Hansel, Lara Hedbor, Risa Heller, Bev Hirsch, Ira Hirsch, Julie Holdaway, Savannah Jackson, Sherry Jones, Philip Klein, Rachel Corazim, Lori Laren, Joan Lerner, Nestor Melo, Yasmin Moreno, Jeanette Ruby, Michael Simons, Karsten Strybe, Marlene Trigel-Smith, Betty Wood, Aviva Bat Moralea, Chayalea Bat Miriam, Sarah Rivka Bat Nisan, Shira Aliza Bat Chana Bracha, Eliana Ruth Bat Avraham Vasara, Esther Malkachana Bat Batia Ruth, Velvel Moshe Ben Maralea. If there are any other names for Mishaberach, you can either type them into the chat function if you are watching our live stream, or if you have a name in the room you'd like to say aloud. And as much as it is important to pray for those who are sick, but right before we sing Misha Berach, I want to mention that it is important to put actions where our words are. We don't just pray and everything gets okay. Where God is, where the Israelites are trapped in front of the sea that we're going to read next week that I mentioned, Moses sits there praying and God says, don't just pray, move. And one of the ways that we can actually help people who are not well, and one in particular on our list, Julie Holdaway, she has a kidney registry campaign. And if you get on that registration list, if you're able to be on that registration list, it might help Julie peripherally, because a donation from you could match to someone else, and then back and forth until someone finally matches back to Julie. And they just did a news article on this that I saw this morning. One of the largest kidney donation chains that has ever been done, like dozens of people, all connected to someone in the circle. And they were all able to provide kidneys. And this happens by checking out the registry. If I go to Facebook and I can't find that registration link right away on Saturday night, I'll put it there. So check Facebook on Sunday, and we'll make sure that that registration list is there so that we can get as many people as we can that link to give help to our beloved Julie Holdaway. So we continue with Misha Berach. Whose names we say aloud, all those whose names remain on our heart, be blessed with a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit as we say together, Amen. It is our custom on the first Shabbat of the month to bless birthdays and anniversaries. So if you have a birth anniversary and you're in the room, go ahead and just rise where you are. If you are not in the room, you can rise if you want, or just tell me you did, either way. And we offer this blessing for those of you who anyone in the room have a January? Hedda, happy birthday. Also, a shout out to Hannah Klugman, whose 100th birthday is today. She's been a longtime member of CBT, so we're very exciting. Yay! I don't have a Smucker's jar, but Hannah, if you're watching, happy birthday. If I did, I'd put your face on the Smucker's jar and say happy birthday. Well, it's a Today Show joke if you didn't. Okay, so for Hedda and who's in the room, and for everyone who's not in the room with the January celebration.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Oh, for Laura Pinkham, happy birthday. We pray that the Holy One of Blessing grant you a healthy, a happy, and a wonderful year, a year surrounded by people you love who can safely be near you, who can celebrate with you in a way that makes you most comfortable, who can be there with you to support you for all those times over the next year when you might need a little support, and who can make better all those wonderful moments that you'll be celebrating in the coming year. As we say all together,
Amen.
Amen. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. We are going to rise now all together for Aleinu, page 282.
Aleinu shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotze breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kimishpechot ha'adama, shelo samchakenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
You may be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We remember the holy martyrs of every age of Jewish memory, from the Crusades to the Inquisition, from the English expulsion to the Russian pogroms, from the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem to the destruction of communities in the Holocaust. We remember those who have given their lives for our nation and in defense of the state of Israel. We also take to heart the 302 Americans who lost their lives this week, this year, in fact, to gun violence. As we remember them all, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death, perhaps choosing one of the meditations on page 288 and following, or whichever words the heart may prompt. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. From our CBT community, we are commemorating the yahrzeit, remembering the anniversary of their death for Saul Anthony, Tova Goldberg Ariel, Rachel Axelrod, Aaron L. Balter, Samuel Bernstein, Annette Cohen, Al Daniels, T.C. Doyle, Alfred Einstein, Brad J. Einstein, Phyllis Fish, Clara Gittleman, Renee Goldsmith, Irving Gordon, Lillian M. Haber, Judy Hamrell, Sarah Lynn Harlow, Mitchell Hassan, James Horn, Anna Cantor, Kathleen Kirk, Les Klein, Eunice Lee Langbird, Susan Mayer, Chaim Mencher, Wes Myers, Jeanette Rogoff, Heike Bavora Rosenberg, Vivian Russo, Diane K. Schechter, Jeanette K. Siegel, Stephen Slonim, Paul Fowler, Adele Turk Vogel, Helene Wagner, Lillian Weber. Are there any other names for Kaddish this evening? Memories of all of them are with us. We rise as one community, lending strength to our mourning friends and standing for those who have no one to stand for them. Kaddish Yatom Mourners Kaddish is on page 294. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma di v'ra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv vimru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'amei Amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei kudusha.
Barichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
V'imru. Amen.
The source of peace, bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Albert Davidson, representing your board of directors. I'd like to thank Richard Snoor for being our usher tonight. Thank you. You had your hands full. I know how crowded we were. So I really appreciate that. Also, we have this wonderful event happening a month from today. The first weekend in Friday, we're going to have the Bible players. They will be here all weekend with us. So we'll have them on Friday night, an activity on Saturday, which is going to be an adults-only activity, a little comedy happening, and they'll be working with the religious school on Sunday. So we look forward to having them here. Shabbat Shalom.
I'm excited for the Bible players. I've only ever seen them do kid stuff, so it'll be good to have a rated Reish night. We are going to continue with Oseh Shalom. It's on that same page you were just on, or probably know the words.
Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru. Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru. Amen.
Please rise for Kiddush and Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri shanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'avo v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila le'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tzion mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta v'tanya kirdashta v'kol ha'amim v'shavat kodshecha ve'ahava v'ratzon hinhatanu Baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh haShabbat. Amen.
And we've got a challah. Okay, just point at it. Don't put your finger on it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
There is Tagoneg, I believe, in the lobby. Tagoneg in the lobby.
Good, Shabbos friend.
How are you?
I'm good, thank God. Keep him busy. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. I say hi to Sean and Leanna.
Oh, I will, John. Always, always.
How are you doing?
Because of the fish.
I'm a fish nerd.
We had such a big crowd tonight.
Yeah. You do what you can do. Oh, my mom is texting me now, so
I know you're not busy right now.
she's probably watching.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, she said, what time did services start? Sorry, Mom. 6 o'clock. Love you.
Like the people who show up during work stuff.
Very, very happy. You know, good to get a break, good to come back. This seven. I finished 7 books. Do you want to see my log? You didn't make me do it, but I did it.
to reread it.
Mahjong tournaments. Oh, yeah, they have big mahjong over there.
But we went for about 4 months.
Doing it, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they go out
I had
there,
no
they-
idea.
they do a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, right, that was the no sound week. Okay, now I know when.
Michelle, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Michelle. Shabbat Shalom, Tammy. Shabbat Shalom, Jenna. Shabbat Shalom.
I'm still a good Shabbos person.
Good Shabbos then.
Joy,